Is this ever nice? Wow. Can everybody hear me okay? This can't be Rolling Green. Not where everyone can hear me anyway. Man, this is nice. You know, it's been 2 years since we've met together like this, and we've never met like this. This is wonderful. And you see there's a chair behind me. I don't know if my bodyguard is in here yet. Not yet. Okay. Well, for those of you who've not experienced this before, and about somewhere around 35% plus of our people at Rolling Green living here now have not been here outside of the pandemic. That's a lot of people, and so welcome. We're so glad you're here. We're thrilled. We're just thrilled. We do these, outside of the pandemic, we do these meetings monthly. And the idea is, I have a number of things that are on the agenda, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And usually we have a couple department heads speak to issues. And so today is going to be a little bit different. But one thing we do is we always end with prayer, okay? So somebody told me earlier I should start with prayer today. A couple of just announcements kind of thing. I think you've all heard that bad weather is coming. And I've heard that we're going to have 6 inches of snow. Don't believe it. It'll probably be a dusting. But what I did do is, you know, the hourly forecast, they need to change it every hour because they don't know. But it appears that we're going to start having temperatures at night well below zero starting Saturday through next Thursday. And just, it's going to be almost like Memphis, I suppose. But what I do want to say, I'm really concerned just... there is ice, or there will be ice, especially if there's moisture or snow or whatever that is. Just be aware of it, and if you see that, I know a lot of churches are already, have contingency plans and those kinds of things. But please be careful, and if we have any significant moisture, I just please don't go outside. And I know we have dogs, and we just can't let them run, but just please be careful. Shannon is not Shannon Liddick, our clinic nurse, head of healthcare services for independent living, isn't going to be able to be with us today. But she did give me a note. First of all, hello. She's glad to see you. Go figure. She wanted to talk about the symptoms of COVID. And those symptoms right now, today, at this moment, are cough, fatigue, or tiredness, congestion and runny nose, sore throat, and or headache. So most of us who get up in the morning, we have about 3 of those. But oh lordy. But seriously, the data is showing that the time it takes for an infected person to develop symptoms after exposure is shorter than it was. It could be a full week before you show symptoms, if at all, or it could just be 3 days. So the incubation period is a little shorter than the previous versions. And so the CDC recommends testing at 3 days. And I wish we had tests for everybody all the time. We, like everybody else, we're limited. If you think you have COVID, what our recommendation is notify your physician, because they're going to know you better than anyone, and they can get you in for a test and those kinds of things. So please. I am also very, very thankful to see you all wearing masks, except for me, of course. But and I very nearly postponed this meeting because we are seeing so much spread of COVID. We have a significant portion of our staff is out today, including some of our leadership staff. We have very little that's been reported in the independent housing. I'm aware of, I think, 2 cases and two folks quarantining, so we're doing really well. Healthcare, I think we have about 13 people. Boy, how did we infect them? I don't know. How do you like that for an answer? I don't know. We have, ironically, during the last 2 years, we had visitor restrictions, and those visitor restrictions were not only lifted by the government. They said, you can't restrict. So people can come in with the disease, so it's potential there. We have staff going home at night, so there's potential there. We also have allied health professionals coming in from the lab, from hospice, from home health, and other organizations that come as well. And so any one of those could have been the source. We don't know. We are taking it seriously though, and we've set up an isolation area for folks with COVID, and it's in our rehab area, which, as was mentioned, I guess last November, we vacated the rehab area temporarily, and the reason is staffing. But we are taking our own people, your family, and so for better or for worse, you have to deal with us, you know. But we're taking in. We of course have the Medicare certification, and all the rehab services are available. So, but I did want you to be aware of that. That we'll continue that until we can get by this. Indications are that people who do have the virus, it tends to be a little less difficult to get through, and especially almost, I would expect that basically everybody in this room has been vaccinated, and most of us have been boosted as well. And so should we get it, it should be less, and the percentage of people who are in hospitals and especially in ICU is very low if they have been vaccinated and boosted. So that's good news. And I know that's something that's scary to all of us, but that is something important. But please, we urge you, we're approaching it a little bit different this time. With the last versions of COVID, we've locked down really hard because it was so threatening to all of us. And this time it's not as threatening, although it's more infectious. And that's why I nearly canceled this meeting or postponed this meeting. But I felt it was too important to postpone, and if everybody's masked. Also, because the virus has changed, we feel our approach this time is, I don't see anybody in here who is not an adult. Though we may act like it's never too late to enjoy our childhood, we are all adults. We strongly urge you to wear masks whenever in public areas. Take the mask off when you're eating or speaking like this. Small groups, leave the masks on unless you're speaking, whether it's a study or an art thing or whatever. We strongly urge you. Does that mean that everybody has to wear a mask all the time? What I am saying is we're adults and we're responsible for each other and community. I think I don't need to say anything more than that. I've got a couple slides I'd like to show you. There we go. Do you know what this is?
Yeah.
1918.
1918, absolutely right. The Spanish flu. All right, we'll go to the next one. Know what that is?
Depression.
The Depression. How long did the Great Depression last?
Takeout bag.
Yeah, it's for takeout bag. All right, yeah. I get it, yeah. There's always one in the crowd. Thank you. Love you too, Jim.
That's the line at the DMV.
Yeah, line at the DMV. Boy, you got that right too. Yeah, the Depression started what, 32? And went? And went
29.
and 29, yes, I'm sorry, yeah, 29. I was a history major in college and I can't even remember that. But that was 40 years ago. And it lasted really until the beginning of World War II, and World War II is actually what brought us out. Okay, remember what that was? Gas shortage.
73.
73, that's right. I actually remember that, folks. Okay. 9/11. Okay. Vaccinations and all the lines. I'm sure you saw on television the lines and lines for testing and all that kind of stuff, and I'm so glad we were able to have the clinics here. The point of all this is very simple. Due to the pandemic, we haven't been able to meet for a couple years. We've all been through national crises before, and we're still in it. And it's really a double crisis this time, or one is kind of the result of the other. We have the pandemic with the disease, with the virus, and then we also have the change in the workforce because of the virus. And they call it the Great Resignation. And it's a great term. Every organization that we know of is having trouble with staffing. We could probably use 45 additional staff. Wow. How bad are we? Well, depends on the day. No. The issue is I'm involved in our state association for this kind of property. All the non-for-profits are in this kind of organization. Every one of the organizations, and I do know, every one of the organizations is having struggle with staffing. We have some that I've been told their meal services are sandwiches. In another place I know of, had one cook for a day with 300 people. We are doing very well, and it is painful even though it is painful. So by comparison, this is rough, but I am thankful we're rolling green. You know, I like fountain pens. You probably didn't know that. I only have one. I had a really nice one that I lost a long time ago, and so in the last year or so I bought another one. It's a really nice one. It cost me $10. And if you look closely, you can see the blue marks. It blew up when I made it. And you know, with the best laid plans, and I'm really careful with that thing, with the best laid plans, unexpected things happen. And in this past 2 years, we have all experienced together something that none of us have ever experienced. Consequently, over this last 2 years, we have done a lot of things, and you've seen a lot of changes. Not all of them are pleasant. I don't like a lot of them. But together, we are where we are, and with those changes, we've never tested those things before. And here's my greatest concern. With all these things that we've been experiencing, because we could not meet face-to-face, or mask-to-mask, as it were, all of our resident committees haven't met. All of them. We've had a couple meetings with the officers for the Resident Association, that's it. Our primary way that we get information back from you is through those resident committees and one-on-one conversations. But we really listen to those committees. And I'll talk about those in a little bit. We haven't met. So the issue is, we've been making decisions without your voice. Amen. Amen. Yeah. And we don't like it because we got one arm tied behind our back and one leg tied to it because we couldn't hear what you were saying. So, yeah, we don't like it either. And so we've got some issues out there. Also, the kinds of things that we normally address in this meeting, we're now addressing 2 years worth of them in one meeting. And so we'll be out of here by 9 o'clock tonight. So that's why we're departing from the regular agenda that we would normally do. You know, normally we talk about finances and, you know, Ryan, you guys have no idea what a giftee is. Gotta have water. So this is a little different. So I'm going to take a sip of water. So we've got some issues, and I'm aware of a number of them. I'm going to make a list, and I want your help in just a minute. And I'm going to read a list of things that I know about, and I'm going to ask, what else? But I do ask one thing with that. We need to keep it succinct because we want to be out of here before 9 o'clock tonight. All right? So this is in no particular order. Hallway A through D, paint and carpet. Oh. Another one. Building F, second person fees are less than elsewhere. And by the way, I've got some answers for these. The CD lobby is gone, and we don't have seating. The CD laundry is gone from where it was 4 years ago. And there's no seating there. The apartments received several light poles that are new, and other areas didn't. The new lights are too bright. I'm sorry. I can only be serious so long. Here's one that we all hate. the 4 p.m. last seating for food and beverage.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you hate that?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that too. The menu changes, and then the daily changes that occur without communicating them. Wow. And then, this is actually my favorite. Communication is bad. I hate the word communication because it doesn't tell me, it doesn't communicate anything. So we're digging down a little bit. Lack of advance warning of changes to residents. Yeah, that heads up thing is an issue. Lack of resident voice, which I mentioned, amen. And that's where those committees come in. We're going to talk about those committees because they're starting again this month. Another thing, the cottage residents get a meal plan that's more like the patio homes than like the apartment residents. Okay, what else? What other issues are out there? Just, we want to keep it succinct because I actually have some answers to these, but please.
I'm gonna take this off. I have something that actually refers to something you made an allusion to.
Mhm.
And it's not really the lack of communication, but it is. Because we have not had any opportunity in any way to get any kind of psychological counseling after being closed down for 2 years. We're depressed, we're sad, all of that.
Okay, no opportunity for counseling.
No opportunity. There is no psychological counselor on campus.
Yeah, we do not have a okay.
And we all need that because we're aging and we're gonna be dealing with the aging maladies
Yeah.
that work on our minds too.
This is a tough time, yeah, and we've had a lot of isolation.
So I
Thank you.
think that's one of the big things we need here.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can do without all the fancy painting and the fancy carpeting and fancy whatever, all this other new stuff. Give us a counselor.
Wanting a counselor for
Yeah.
psych issues. Yeah, mental health is a huge issue.
Spend the money
Let's
to
see,
spend
we have-
it
we
on
have
that
another-
pretty stuff for us.
Housekeeping for the patio homes.
Housekeeping for the, good, thank you. Yeah, you want that restored? Yes.
The house is getting dirty.
The house is getting dirty. Oh boy, yeah. Yeah, we won't tell anybody. Let's see, did I see a hand? Other issues, concerns? Please.
I had a question about the cable bills going up. I thought when the discussions on originally getting the cable into Spectrum, that the $55 a month was a 5-year guarantee or 5-year
Right.
contract, and now it's gone up and hasn't been 5 years.
Cable bill increase, okay, we can talk about that. Yeah, I actually have an answer.
Oh, okay.
Hey, yeah. Please, Jim.
I notice when we come to breakfast in the morning and drive, there's people parking overnight and the visitors parking outside the commons.
People parking overnight outside the commons in the visitor spaces.
Yes.
As long as a month.
Yeah.
And for as long as a month is what I'm hearing. Yes. Okay. Good. What else? Please.
Survey results?
Survey results. Oh, resident survey results? Yeah. Good. Yes, we do have results. They're actually really good. Let me caveat that. I was expecting them to drop, and the results were really good. I'm really pleased. Okay. Oh, here.
More handicap parking.
More handicap parking. Okay. Let's see. And more handicap parking. And Skip.
The response time, if you forget to push the button, seems to be a little long. You were really in trouble.
Response time for the emergency or the nurse call?
Not the one with the red thing on the bottom, just the one on the wall.
The one on the wall. So response time.
That was, if we forget to punch it, it may be an hour or so before someone calls.
Okay, so really what I'm hearing are two things. One is response time, and also checking in on you if you forget to check in. Did I hear you? Yes. Okay, good. Good.
Parking designated for the F building residents.
Parking designated for F building. By the way, I'm writing all this down. Okay. All right. Oh, please. Call.
Parking is a problem, period.
Parking is a problem, period. And are you referring to a specific area or
All the areas, but mainly the commons.
commons mainly? Yeah.
It's too far for older people to, I don't know what you're doing.
So parking, especially at the commons, and it's too far. Okay.
Okay,
Please.
On Trail Oaks Drive, when you come in the back entrance,
Mhm.
this is probably going on now probably for a good year. There's tons of beer cans all the way along on the right-hand side when you're coming in. And I did report it a couple times, but nothing's been done about it, but I've counted them now, there's over 20. And it doesn't seem like there's continuing to be more, but now it's cold, so nobody's out there drinking, I guess. I don't think it's any of us who couldn't sit down and drink.
Yeah, Maine, you caught me.
Yeah.
You know, if you were at the veterans thing today, I can tell you where they'll tell you where those cans are. Yeah. I'm not making light of what you're saying, please understand. Okay. Well, with your permission, I'd like to move on. And I know there's more. Oh, one more, please.
The cleaning up after your dogs.
Cleaning up after dogs. Oh, yeah.
People that are not residents.
Okay. You know, oh, sorry. Like I mentioned, you know, we've pent up 2 years of concerns for today. And so thank you for your gracious concerns. Some of them I have answers for, but before we go there, I want to do something else. What are you thankful for?
Dining hall.
Yeah, let's see, I heard dining hall,
Yes.
Living in Rolling Green.
living in Rolling Green. Yeah. It's a good place. Thank you. I'm so glad.
Getting the vaccination's easy.
Vaccination's easy. Yeah, boy, that was actually kind of fun. Not the shot part, but just seeing people. I saw people seeing neighbors they hadn't seen for months. Yeah, great. What else? Please.
The staff.
The staff.
Yeah.
Oh,
They seem to be more helpful.
we are so blessed with the staff that we have. I'm so grateful for them. They're here for the right reason. It's their heart. What else? No, that really wasn't your hand. All right. That was another body part. Okay, I get it. All right.
Okay.
Please.
Library. That library is amazing.
The library. Really, both of them. The one that
Oh,
the
yeah,
residents.
both are. Yeah.
The one that's set up right around the corner here. Man, you guys did a terrific job. Yeah. Gene.
Exercise programs.
Exercise programs. Did you know? Here's a fun fact. Is Amy here? Okay, so I can embarrass Amy. Before the pandemic hit, we had a certain number of things on the calendar and activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that number now, in the pandemic, has doubled?
Oh, my word.
And, you know, yeah. And it's Amy and Rose and, you know, the rest of her team. What a great job. And the only way they can do that is a lot of residents are helping. And that's what I mean by resident committees. And a lot of residents are helping, so thank you. Thank you. And, you know, because it's the same people. You know, I'm amazed. Okay, and we're blessed. A couple things to dialogue on. And, you know, the items that I've been hearing, I wanted to say, and then I'll see if I can make some comments that are appropriate, that are appropriate for the other things that just came up. The hallway. Let me start in a different place. Today in the A through E buildings, we have about 37 vacant units. That's serious. Now, what did we do wrong? Nothing. We closed the campus down for a year, and that's about what the turnover would have been. And so we're a year behind in filling up, and so marketing has been working very hard. You know what the number one complaint of new prospects is? The hallways. In A through E. The hallways.
Yep.
And, you know, and we started thinking about it, and the last time the hallway carpet was updated was 9 years ago. And the paint. And the reason I know that is I started 7.5 years ago, and so 18 months after all the carpet and stuff went in, I was still hearing the complaints because people didn't like it. Oh, yes. You know, to your point, yes, this is for residents. It is for prospects. But think about it.
But we don't have any voice in it.
Well, you don't have any voice in it. You did, but not what you think you had. Oh, how do we answer that? We actually had all the samples and a selection of samples available about 4 years ago in the Palmetto Conference Room for residents to go through and look at and give us comments. We selected the furnishings, the colors, and all that based off of that input, and we're continuing that input with that input so we have a congruent look. Now, is everybody going to like it?
No.
Heck no. No. I'm sorry about that, but we can't. But I also know that before stuff is finished, it usually tends to look bad. So let's give it a little bit, and we can say we hate it after the new carpet's in, which should be coming pretty soon. We should be done with that project. Conservatively, we ought to be done by the end of March, first part of April. Okay. F building second person fees are lower. Yes. Rolling Reed made a mistake. Imagine that. With the pandemic, the construction took at least 18 months longer than we planned. So we actually had to resell the units 3 times.
Oh my God.
So we did a lot more work. And, pandemic, and then, of course, you remember, those of you who've been here remember the mud and the waters, and the county did not help us a whole lot. We got through it, and they did help us in the end. But there were significant delays, and we didn't look at the pricing on that second person when some prices went up. And consequently, they were way behind, because they were based on second person fees some time ago. And some of them got a short-term lower fee for just a few months. We realized that in the budget this year, and basically we sat down, we talked, we thought, we can't go up the amount that needs to go up all at once. That's not fair. It wouldn't be fair to any of our residents. So we made a decision, and the decision we went up about halfway. And so yes, they are different, and it's because we goofed, and out of integrity, we could not take them to the rate that everybody else is yet. We're working there, so those of you second persons in the F building know to anticipate that. But we believe that in doing things fairly as best we know how. But we also believe that we need to treat the people who are in this situation with fairness. Is there a question? No? Okay. CD lobby and laundry changes. The main connection to the Commons is the CD lobby. Yeah, CD lobby. And we enhanced the lobby. There's tile and paint and all that kind of stuff. But that lobby was lost. And that's unfortunate. But there's no other way to connect the building. But in talking with residents, we looked at it and we thought, wow, there is some seating that's missing there, same way in front of the laundry. And so we're taking that under advisement and see what we can do. There won't be seating like there was before because it's a main thoroughfare. On the flip side, we have the lounge. We have a lot of new space in the Commons that people can use as well. It's not that homey thing of that CD lobby though, and I get that. And it's a change that some people don't like, and I do understand that. I do understand that. But we did talk about that a long time before that building was built. And that building had to connect to us somewhere. Apartment light poles. Yeah, you may have noticed that there's some black light poles rather than wooden. And they match the rest of the expansion. And the reason they match is because they were planned as part of the expansion. So that there would be a congruent look at the front. Someday, now in the back here, we still have our famous wood poles, but with those new brighter lights. So we have those. Someday, now you realize that there's a fee that goes with a pole. And so someday we hope to be able to replace them through campus, but if we do, it's going to take some time. But that's why. The LED lights that they put in are less, require less energy, and they are brighter. And I think as we age, we all know that we lose a percentage of our night vision, even when our eyes are really good. And having the brighter lights, we were seeing some visibility and some issues with lighting, and we felt that it was important that we increase the light intensity. And I know it is a problem for a few people. Dining times. Going to the 4 o'clock meal time, that's awful. I know there are a lot of people who eat at noon and at breakfast, they're fine. What's the problem? I eat, well, that's not a problem for you. There's a lot of people who like to eat in the evening, right? Yeah. We made the move solely because of staffing. And our promise is that we're going to increase those hours as we get through this with staffing. We've seen just a little bit of loosening up before this last version of COVID came through. We're seeing a little bit of loosening, not much in the staffing. Now here's the deal. We need your help. Every day we're delivering somewhere between 100 and 150 meals. I'm looking at Rose because I know you know. And Bruce is Bruce is out. Oh, Rich, you're hiding behind her. Yes. You're way over there. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Close to the exit.
Yeah. Somebody suggested they had a Kevlar vest I could have for this. We are delivering so many meals to people who can pick them up themselves. And here's the deal. We have staff to do one thing or another. We can't do both. We can't prepare and deliver probably 75 to 100 meals at night and keep the dining room open. So what do? We've got a chicken or an egg. What we'd like to do is a couple things. One is the people who are capable of coming down and either picking up their food or better, eating in the dining room, we want to encourage you to do that. We stopped delivery fees about 2 years ago because of COVID, because that was the right thing to do. We are going to be reinstating the delivery fees. Now I don't know how much, and so stay tuned. It's a small encouragement. Now, why is it such a big deal? The whole concept of where you live, the life plan community, is based around creating opportunities for you to engage in life. And the result of that is those of you who live in communities like this, on average, remain independent for about 4.5 years longer than if you stayed in your home. That's good insurance. Now, what causes that? Well, it's the activities, social engagement, it's the food, quality meals, making choices. The one thing about having double the activities is people have to make choices. They want to be 2 places at once. We want you to experience choice. Now, we don't want to make it for everything, but we want you to be able to express what is most important to you through choices. The other thing is eliminating isolation. The best thing that you can do to eliminate isolation is sit down and have a meal with people. And that is the assumption and one of the basic premises of the Life Plan community. Now, I've had people ask me if we can make the meals much more optional in terms of how many you have during the month and those kinds of things. And we've said no. And there are a number of reasons. Our business model is based off that number of meals. Frankly, everybody in here helps pay for them. What? Patio homes don't? Yes. Why is that? In order to have the quality and the type of food that we have, rather than sandwiches, and have an order, a menu with order service, you have to have volume. And because it's the essential tenet of Life Plan communities, we have set it up so that the apartments have the meals. It's part of their program. Why is it that patio home people are paying? Now, patio home folks, you still get a great discount. You get an incredible discount. But we couldn't have this unless that were part of your regime fee. Now people say, why, I don't get anything for my regime fee. Oh yes, you do. You get all of these grounds and somebody maintains them. You get that kitchen. Now how many of you are having to pay more because we have the commons? That's what I thought. We've been able to do this because we've been working together for this plan. Okay? So I understand how people would like more flexibility for the apartments in terms of the meals chosen. If we did that over time, we could not have the quality that we have. And how do I know that? I've done it. I've done it, and I failed miserably with that. And what a battle to get people to take the meals then. So what would happen if we can get people to come to the dining room? As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this point. If we can get residents to come who are able to come, it's better for the resident, it's better for the staff, and we can increase those hours. Wow. So as a community, we need to help encourage each other. If you have a neighbor who doesn't come down, now here's the problem. We taught people to how to enjoy meals in their home without anybody else around. We've taught them because of the pandemic. We isolated. I understand that. And that's why when we announce the rates and those kinds of things for the delivery fee, that's why I'm letting you know well in advance. Because what we really need to do is, if we can start getting more people down, we can increase those hours. Why? Because the staff isn't running down the hall delivering meals. Yeah, a question, please.
That's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What about
Curtis.
the limitations on reservations and seating? It's hard for people to get in there.
Limitations in seating, yeah, it is. We've had some conversations about that as well, and some of that is staff, but by extending the hours, everybody can't eat at the same time. We know that, but it will help that we can increase the hours, and at this point in time, we believe that we can open it up. If we could get everybody who's able to get their meal, eat in the dining room, we believe that we can go at least till 5 o'clock. Now that doesn't sound very late, but we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. And because we expect that as we get through the staffing issue, we're going to be increasing those hours. Because we want them open well past 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that. Now, it's not satisfactory to a lot of people, and I understand. I don't like it either. But, let me pick on Rich, since now I found him. Do you think today you could just suddenly increase the hours without making changes in those deliveries?
Absolutely not.
And
I cannot have people in two places at the same time.
And we have a limited number of people.
And that's what slows us down.
Yeah. I see a question, please. Please, ma'am.
Yes. I'm new here, so I'm just trying to adjust and make friends, and I'm very grateful for this place, and everybody's been wonderful. but I don't particularly enjoy having to eat my meal at 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon. And I wondered how long will it be before you could go in and have dinner at 6 o'clock like normal people?
Oh, that's a great question. She was saying that she's new here, and she doesn't enjoy going in at 3 o'clock having a dinner meal. And when will we be able to extend those hours for dinner time to be with normal people, right? Or as normal people. Most of us are pretty normal. You know, that's a good question. You know, I wish I could give you an answer today.
Get rid of the bags.
Yeah, get rid of the bags. That will make a huge difference. Now, there are some people who legitimately have difficulty. We have always helped them. And if you have that, we will help you too. Please, Jim.
You could use your power as the head guy, effective Tuesday the 18th, without a medical excuse. You come and get your meal. Better yet, you eat in the dining room.
Yeah, Jim has made the comment without using my incredible power as executive director and my incredible persuasion that I could tell people, you know, we'll determine who's able and who's not, and if you're able, you got to come down and eat, and get your meal. You know, and it may come to that. I prefer honey to start with.
Basically, if there were two little things that change, that just minor little things, not have us stand outside in like birds in the wilderness and wait to be seated. We don't need to be seated. We're adults. Let us be seated. I would rather sit at the table with my friends and socialize and wait there rather than stand out in the hall and wait. I know we're trying to be a quote fancy restaurant. We'll never be a fancy restaurant. This is our home.
I get it. And the comment, just so everyone can hear, is why can't we just go ahead and take seats in the dining room and we can socialize with our friends while we're waiting for the wait staff and others, rather than standing and waiting for reservations. You know,
That seems to be a personal thing.
it seems to be a personal thing. I don't know. I'm going to make a statement, and Rich and I haven't talked about this, and of course Bruce is out, so we can just blame him. But you know, the issue with reservations really comes down to staffing. If we suddenly have 100 people in the dining room and we have 2 wait staff, we're not going to get to you for hours.
What's the difference in waiting there and waiting outside?
What's the difference between waiting there and waiting outside? Well, again, just like any other restaurant, you know, we are trying to match the staffing with the service. But
This is my home.
it's your home. But there is one other piece. We have a very nice lounge. And, you know, people don't need to stand. You know, we will come and get you. And we know that people will come and get us if we don't.
But that takes another staff member.
Yeah, and Julia, I get it. And, you know, there are some things. This is the first time that we've been through this, and we're learning. We're making some mistakes along the way, and we're doing some things very right.
But you're still using 2 or 3 staff members out there at that little desk.
We're using 2 or 3 for hosting. Part of that is answering the phone for the bags. You know, so, and that's not the most efficient thing. We've looked for more efficient ways, haven't found that. With your, oh, please.
Utilize volunteers.
Yeah.
Utilize volunteers. Yeah, for seating and hosting.
Or anything.
Yeah,
They're willing to do.
we do use some volunteers.
I know, and I've offered several times and never heard from anyone.
Well, for heaven's sakes. Rich or Amy, can you tackle them? I mean, please, comment.
Just a clarification, when you say come down and pick up our bags and eat in the dining room, are you suggesting we pick up our bags and go sit in the dining room, or are you talking about 2 separate things?
2 separate things. For those, in this interim period, for those who get deliveries, it would help immensely if you could pick it up. It is far better for you and for the organization if you come down and eat in the dining room.
At 4 o'clock.
At 4 o'clock. But if we, you know, and here's the loose part of all this. How many bags do we need to reduce it in order to start it? And I don't have a good, clean answer for you. but we're going to figure that out. Oh, please, thank you.
Are the all the rates that we're paying competitive?
Are the rates that residents are paying competitive?
No. Staff.
Staff. Good question. We do 3 staff surveys every year. We have for years. And we utilize them, and they're national, state, and local. Based on what we are seeing from our own staff, what we are hearing from applicants, we are paying very competitive wages. Now, here's the thing: is the competitors' wages are changing really rapidly. We can't adjust as fast as restaurants because we can't print a new menu and charge you. And so restaurants will go up faster and other businesses will go up faster than we go up. We pay competitive wages. We pay benefits that a lot of restaurants don't offer. We are very liberal with our benefits, with our pay, and with our services, and with our training. Please. Is there a sign-on bonus? We have for some positions, and we have, what was it? How much did we offer for a nurse?
It was up to $5,000.
We offered up to $5,000 for a sign-on bonus for a nurse.
And nobody applied.
No one applied. That gives you an idea. Having said all that, last year we served, our food and beverage folks served over 230,000 meals. None of us have missed a meal. Now, it hasn't always been exactly what we wanted, and we've had to change the menu because daily what we can get changes. And you've heard the supply side. Those issues are not gone. You know, Rich does a lot of the ordering, if not all of it. Yeah, how do you feel about supply side issues?
I'm not having any fun.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. And it's the prognosis is it's going to be through the end of 2023.
Yeah, so he's not having any fun with the ordering, and the prognosis is, and the pundits are saying, to the end of 2023. And that's why you see daily menu changes. Now, not only that, but I do know they'll order one thing and they'll substitute it with something completely different. Completely different, not even in the same realm. They'll order a meat and they'll bring in a vegetable. I mean, come on, we got to have our meat. So we are going to we're going to watch these, and we need your help. And we don't want you to beat up anybody. Please don't do that. There are people who really need the deliveries. And again, we're going to serve those people because that's who we are. But encourage your neighbor, invite them down to a meal with you. You know, whatever it takes. Well, not whatever, but yeah, we don't use cattle prods here. Now, I do have a question. Oh, please, one more comment.
When I first came here, you buy $100 or 100 points for $10. Now it's up to 30. What does that $10, $20, $30 go to?
Yeah, the meal card price went from 100, or 10 meals for 100, and now it's 130. It's true. Food costs have gone up over the last year approximately 13%. And it's also why the point changes, the number of points required changes over time. Again, the costs have gone through the roof if we can get the items. You know, particularly the meats. What else has really gone up?
Everything across the board.
Everything, even.
Can I say something in defense of him?
You want to say something? Absolutely. In defense of Rich? I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
I'm kidding. Yeah, absolutely.
But we've got to realize that we are just at this end of the supply chain.
We're this end of the supply chain.
He cannot serve anything he can't get.
He can't serve anything he can't get. You're absolutely right.
And so we need to swallow our pride and swallow some of the stuff.
That's why some days there are sudden changes in the menu that you're not aware of. It's because we can't get it. We don't make these changes because we want to make life inconvenience for you. Okay?
But I have to say we've had a bumper crop of shrimp.
You've had a bumper crop of shrimp. Yeah, that's shrimp. And they're not getting any bigger, are they? Well, I do have a question for you. Our management team has been talking. We know. Here's the deal. We have. Oh, please, one more.
What is the total number of residents and the total number of employees?
Total number of residents and total number of employees. We have about 700 residents, a little over 700. And we have, we're supposed to have about 250 staff. Today we have about 200. And that's total staff. That's FTEs. That's FTEs. Now, I do have a question for you. Our management staff has been talking, and we hear we don't get enough information, or stop the darn robocalls. And so I need just to do a straw poll here. If we could figure out, can I get to you in a sec? Okay, thank you. If we can figure out a way to have any changes in the schedule for the day, any sudden announcements like the water is off, or the power is out, or something like that, or if there's menu changes for the day, if we were able to get that call to you sometime mid-morning through a robocall, would those of you who would think that would be a good idea, go ahead and raise your hands. Oh wow! Oh wow! I was gonna say both of you can put your hands down, but yeah. Okay, you had a comment, ma'am.
Yeah, I just want to say
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you for the Johnny's stuff.
She wasn't.
They're wonderful, and I have a good friend of mine that lives in Cascades. They closed their Johnny's.
Wow. So let me repeat it for the camera. So first of all, she wants to say thanks to the dining room, and I do too, and we need to give them a round of applause. She also said that she has a friend who lives at another retirement community, whose name I won't use because I don't want to say anything about the Cascades, but they closed their dining service. They closed their dining service. And there's another community in the upstate that's serving residents sandwiches. So we're serving, we have so much to be thankful for. Amen. Please, yeah. Pat.
Anytime you eat in the dining room, go by the kitchen area or the staff and tell them how much you appreciate them being here.
Tell the staff how much you appreciate it.
And put up with a lot of garbage from some residents.
Yeah, some of our people do make it hard for our
Yes.
residents. I saw another hand. Yes, ma'am. Or sir, I'm sorry. I've got good eyes, I just can't see. I'm sorry?
The question is, us not being able, or for our staff not to be able to be compensated via tips, does that handicap you in competing to get people?
Great question. The question is, because our staff doesn't get compensated by tips, does that make it difficult to get people? Yes. Yes. The state law is such that we can't have people do tips, but every year we have the resident association gathers money for the staff. Managers do not get this money. It goes directly to staff. This past year, more than ever has been raised. About 130,000. Is Ed here? Yeah. 130,000. 30% of our staff got over $900. And that's because of you. Thank you. Thank you. So if you want to create a tip jar in your kitchen, and every time you eat, just go, why not? Our people would appreciate it.
One other.
Oh, please. Yes.
To stretch out the dining experience, is there any thought to opening up and having a bar, having a liquor license?
Okay. Here's the question. I'll let yeah. The question is can we, in order to let me rephrase that maybe, in order to make the dinner time and the waiting for the meals, is that, can I say that? A little more enjoyable. Has there been any thought of having a bar? Yes. Have we thought about it? Yes. Here's the thing is we do not want to offend either our originators or our residents. And I know that we offered mocktails on our calendar one time, and I got a resident who called me and said, you know, the people who started this place are rolling over their graves. And so we, you know, and it's a little humorous, but at the same time, we have some people that is very, very important to them. And that's part of their culture, their upbringing. And we're trying to be, are you okay?
It's Lenny.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Lenny, it's the dog. She didn't answer me. But we do want to respect the wide variety of people and traditions that we have at Rolling Green. And so, yeah, it's a consideration. And, you know, the dog is still coughing. The dog does not like my jokes and does not want a bar. Lenny has spoken. But it is a question that comes up, and it's something that, you know, periodically we will be asking. We've been reticent to ask the question because of our background and history, but it is something that most retirement communities, not-for-profit, faith-based, do have it. But those are the Episcopalians, you know. I'm joking. My college roommate was Episcopalian, so I always pick on them.
If you wish to make a reservation for the dining room, there's no way to talk to anybody. How do you know what you're doing or what time you can come? Or
Yeah, there's no way to talk to anybody through the reservation. The way we do the reservations just isn't very good. And we do it, and if we could get volunteers to help us, maybe that'd work.
I suggested that a year
Yeah.
ago.
Okay. Well, let's take that. You know, again, this is the first time we're going through things, and so ideas and suggestions that we might not have been able to figure out how to work then, you know, we're in a different place. Please.
Is there an application in the portal that you could sign up for the reservation?
Is there an application in the portal to sign up? Not in the portal right now. It is something that we could have the capacity to do. We have a way to do that. About 50% of our residents use the portal, and about 20% use it regularly. Is that a good number? Maybe a little bit more. And so that number has been growing. And so some of the features that we could put on the portal, we haven't got it on because not everybody uses it equally. And it's not that everybody has to be on every day. That's not what I'm saying. It's just the people who are uncomfortable with that technology completely, we have a number of people who are uncomfortable with it. And so how do we help some set reservations when they could get the reservation first and others not? So we don't have a really fair way to handle that yet. We're still working on that. And it's a great suggestion. Please.
By the same token, on the portal, when we first came, the menus were on there and the specials of the day that were detailed a little about their preparation. We've asked for that because I think that's helpful to people when they order. But now we don't know, that it says on the port, doesn't give you the specials.
Yeah.
To call where you can't talk to anybody. So we don't know if we're looking at the printed menu or the portal and which is correct.
Okay, let me repeat that. We used to have the menus on the portal and with the specials for the day, and we don't have those now. And when you call, you get the machine, and that's because we're getting so many calls. It just goes directly to the machine, and so you don't know what you're getting into anytime you come down.
Surprise!
It's surprising.
There's a monthly menu.
We
A,
do.
B, C, D.
Yeah, we do have the monthly menu, the A, B, C, D, and E. That's
pretty accurate.
It's pretty accurate, so much as we can get the food. I don't know. Is there anything else that you'd like to say on that, Rich? Okay. There were some other questions that we got just this afternoon. Let's see here. I'm having I'm having trouble reading my own writing. Housekeeping for patio homes?
No, that's the
Yes, we need that.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it. Oh, there we go. Psychological counseling needs. We can help you find that. It is not we don't offer a psych service here, and I get that counselors would be nice, but again, you all have your physicians, and we would urge you, or you can talk with somebody in the clinic, and they can help you find some counseling, because there are mental health issues because of this experience. Restoring housekeeping for patio homes, that's purely a staffing issue. And if and when we get the staff, yes. Patio home spectrum increase. The comment was it 3 years? We heard it was a 5-year contract. What's the deal? What's the deal? Yeah. When we initiated that program, we said that we would not raise prices for 3 years. But we have a 5-year contract with Spectrum, but Spectrum is raising their price every year. And so there is a price increase that's coming shortly. And right now, we did some just unofficial market research. You're getting a great deal. But I hate to see any increase. Survey results. At 6 o'clock tonight, no. Actually, I had created an original agenda that includes slides from the survey results to give you that information. And so I will give you just a peek, not at the documents, because we'll do that next time. We took the survey in 2019, and we scored an overall rate of 92%. That's really good. In October this year, we scored a 93. Almost every other LCS property, their satisfaction dropped. So we are among the top in LCS. And thank you. Thank you. I have a lot more detail, and we'll bring that next time if that's okay. More handicap parking. We actually have far more than is required by law. That doesn't mean we have enough. Here's the issue. I want handicap parking, but I want it by my door.
Oh, yeah.
And we have debated, I called the city as well as our attorney on handicap parking. Can we put restrictions on it? There are some limitations, because this is private property. There are some limitations that we can put on. But I also know who's in those spots. And there are some issues. We need more. But again, where do we put it where we have vacant spaces? And that's where it's convenient. And the issue with parking, it's funny, we added 147 parking spaces to Rolling Green Village. And we added 90 before the project. So we've added a lot of parking. The issue is it's not close in, and so any large property, unless you have a parking structure, there's going to be some walking involved. And now it is a consideration. The board does have a strategic planning committee, and we'll talk more about that later. But parking is one of the considerations that is going to be looked at. And same way with for the F building. I don't like, it looked a whole lot better to me on paper than it did. So the discussion isn't over on that.
Question.
Please.
Are the parking lots, do they have signs, F building only? Or, in the common area, sometimes the parking is full, so you have to park overnight or days in the common area?
Yeah, the question is, do we designate the parking areas for the buildings? And we do not. And that's why the parking discussion hasn't ended yet. Okay. Again, we exceed the requirements for what's required for a building, but I see that there's issues, and it's not a quick fix. But please know that it is something that's important to me, as well as the number of handicap spots. Please.
I know when I brought my car here, the green sticker on it with a number, so they know who I am. Do we continue to do that?
Yes. Yeah. Is there still a green parking sticker? Yeah. And even if there isn't, we know who you are. Yeah. Emergency the checking in. I'm not sure what time we check the check-in, but we do make a call. If someone hasn't checked in, we do make a call. And sometimes if there are a bunch of calls, it may take us a little longer, or if there's an emergency going on, it may take us a little longer. But what time do we usually look at?
The report prints around 1 o'clock.
We print the report around 1 o'clock.
And then we'll start going down through that list. Well, the first thing they'll do is they'll check with the front desk and the receptionist to make sure if somebody hasn't, has somebody told you that they're going to be out, that we didn't get the word or something on, they're trying to minimize the number of calls. So they'll go through that with the staff, and then once they do, they'll start making phone calls out.
So we check the list. The computer system actually checks it. We know who you are. Anybody who hasn't checked in, we check with the front desk first, because a lot of times people will go away and not tell us, but they'll tell the front desk. That way we don't bother you. And then if we don't have any information about where you are or that you left to go somewhere for a week or so or whatever, then we check with you in your apartment or patio home. The designated parking, I hear that question as assigned parking places. Oh, Lord. Been there, done that, not here. I had hair when I did that. That was... Yes, please.
That was not my question.
Oh.
We have caregivers parking in the area in your F building.
Oh, caregivers are parking in there.
We have maintenance work, contract work, and then you have people with walkers trying to get down to the other section.
I'm so glad you clarified that. So the clarification is that caregivers, maintenance workers outside of our own, and contractors and those kinds of folks and others are parking in there.
That's where signage would help.
Yeah, maybe some signage would help. We're going to have to take a look at that. So thank you. I wasn't aware of that.
It's a pink car that's always parked over there.
It's a pink car. We don't like Mary. Oh no. Trash along Trail Oaks. We know that we just cleaned up part of that area yesterday, and it was looking bad. I don't know if they got the 20 beer cans. But thanks for letting us know. And cleaning up after dogs, yes. I know that there is a way. We have not done this, but it's something that we've looked at, is to consider anybody who has a dog to do genetic testing. Yeah, and what you do is when you find one of those, and what this is it's to identify the dogs. That's it. Please, I can't hear.
The problem is non-residents. It's people coming in across with pretty much large dogs.
Problem is non-residents or. Okay, with large dogs. Okay, let's see.
There was a lot of laughing, but I lived next door because my building wasn't ready at the cottage. It is done next door.
It is done next door.
At Hartness.
At Hartness, yeah.
They have DNAs on every dog and they follow up.
Yeah.
It's quite often the same person.
Yeah, and so what they do is they follow up, and then if it's your dog, you get charged for the price of the test and the time. And it is something that we can do. Okay, please.
Resident Engagement Committee.
I'm going to speak very briefly to that, and then I know it's past time for supper. All right, hold those tomatoes. We have several resident committees, and they're starting this month. And I'm going to give you some quick information, and we put some information out. One of my favorites, personally, is the Resident Engagement Committee. The purpose is not to get couples together. What it's to do is to work with Amy and David Newton, working with programming and creating events that are meaningful to you, and helping us with the calendar. And you know, do these speakers work? What kinds of things are important to you? Did I say that okay? So it's really helping work through. And then, frankly, to help us do those things, because, you know, we've got Amy and Rose, and that's about it. And so we need help. So that's what the resident. So if you have interest in that, everybody call Amy. Some other committees. There's a plant maintenance committee, and what they do is they look at not the growing plants, although that's some of it. It's looking at our overall grounds and buildings and making recommendations. And one of the key things is you hear about work orders, you hear about the key projects that we're working on, and you get a lot of information like that. We have a donation committee, which is, the plant maintenance is under Skip, so call Skip. The donation committee is a select committee selected by Jane, and I guess I was part of that too. But that's, we're working on, you've heard the word amenities planning. You'll hear more about that. That'll come in time. But we wanted to have a group of people that we knew we could get a voice that represented everybody across the campus. So we've got that. We have, I think David has a chapel committee. Is that what you call it?
Working on it.
You're working on it. So there's a chapel committee. There's a resident finance advisory committee. And we go through the financials, not every month, but about every quarter, and we go through the budget. We talk with that committee before we make increases. And that committee actually, before those increases occur, they meet with our finance committee. They also hear our auditor speak. So it's an important committee as well. And Lynn Lentz in finance can help you with that. What have I missed, guys? Oh, please.
What's going on with Garlington and Hoke Smith?
What's going on with Garlington and Hoke Smith?
You took all the trees out.
We took the trees out. Let me start in a different place, if you don't mind. Okay. Duke Power contacted us and said, by the way, you know one of your main power sources is that pole in the middle of those trees? And if one of those trees come down, which we see a number of them have come down, you're going to be out of power because we can't get our trucks back in there. So they gently said, you guys are going to put in an access for us. So that's the genesis of the road. And we looked at what was left, and we thought, it's in bad shape too. So it needs to come down. So you can see the road there. The lines are out there, guidelines for putting in a fence. And it will be a fence very similar to the one out the Trail Oaks Drive. And it's ostensibly it's high enough so that we don't have to look at the neighbors, and we don't have to look at that road. And so and that will be mowable, and it's a nice open entry, and it's a safety issue. We've had accidents at Garlington and Hoke Smith that have been pretty serious. So by opening up that area, it helps a lot. We have gone for an hour and 11 minutes, and I've taken you longer than I like to. How about if I close with prayer? And before I do that, thank you so much for your kind response and involvement and engagement in this meeting. It's good to see you again. Let's pray. Father, we come before you with thanks. This is a good place, and it is in your hands, and we want to be your people. Lord, help us to work with our neighbors and with each other with compassion, dignity, and grace. Thank you so much for the spirit in which our people have come together today to talk through things that are important. We're so grateful. Lord, we thank you and we love you for the day that you've given us today. Amen. Thank you all.